Welcome back to the deep dive. This is where we take all that source material you send us, the NIH studies, ADA guidelines, even those really insightful community posts, and boil it down. We try to get you the core knowledge you need, well, right now. Today, we're digging into polyuria. It's that really urgent signal, excessive urination, that often means there's some chaos happening with diabetes management. Our mission: cut through the noise, find out why it happens, what it really costs you, health, sleep, everything, and importantly, how you can manage it. And it's timely, right? September 30, 2025, and diabetes is affecting, over 643 million adults globally now. So understanding these signals is just critical.
Absolutely critical. And polyuria, it's often the symptom that hits quality of life the hardest right off the bat. That's why we need to focus on it. When blood sugar isn't well controlled, this excessive urination, polyuria, can show up in maybe up to 70% of those cases. It's common. And think about what's at stake. Frequent bathroom trips. They're not just annoying. They are a huge red flag, like a flashing light. It points to dangerously high blood sugar, serious dehydration risks, and potentially long-term damage. Kidneys especially.
Yeah.
You mentioned the community posts we looked at. Some were really stark. People reporting, 10, sometimes more trips to the bathroom every night.
10 times a night, that's barely sleep at all.
Exactly. It's not just poor sleep. It's like a total breakdown of your body's normal rhythm, a system failure.
Okay, so let's get specific. How much is excessive? When does just needing to go frequently cross the line into actual polyuria?
Yeah, we need a number, right? So clinically, polyuria is defined as putting out more than 3 liters of urine a day for an adult. Keep in mind the normal range is usually between 1 and 2 liters daily. So 3 liters is a big jump.
3 liters. Okay, so nearly double, sometimes more than double what's typical.
Right. And the key things you'd notice, the main symptoms, are frequency and volume. So urinating maybe more than 8 times during the day, or, and this is often the big one, waking up more than twice during the night to go. And crucially, it's usually a large amount each time, not just little urges. It feels like a flood.
Okay, a flood. And I think it's important to clarify the order here. Lots of people mention being really thirsty, polydipsia. Does the thirst cause the peeing, or is it the other way around?
That's a great question. In diabetes, typically the polyuria, the excessive urination, comes first. It's the primary driver. The body is losing so much fluid through the kidneys that it causes dehydration. And then that dehydration triggers the intense thirst. So the urination is the root issue here, signaling that glucose control has failed.
That distinction really matters, yeah. It tells you where the problem starts. I remember seeing that X post at Diabetic Daily. It just summed it up every hour at night, exhausted. That exhaustion, that feeling, that's the immediate price, isn't it?
It really is. And that exhaustion is often a sign the A1C level is probably well above where it should be. Our sources back this up. Polyuria is like a hallmark symptom of uncontrolled blood sugar, specifically when A1C gets over 7%. We see it affecting, like I mentioned, potentially up to 70% of type 2 diabetics and maybe around 30% of type 1 diabetics when their control slips.
That's a huge number of people dealing with this day in, day out, especially when you think about the, 38 million Americans living with diabetes? Wow. Okay, before we dive into the mechanism behind this, which sounds fascinating but maybe a bit complicated, I just want to quickly mention Mind Expansion Daily. We put a lot of effort into bringing you these deep dives, translating complex info into something usable. You can find more just like this over there. And hey, if you're getting something valuable from this conversation, please take just a second right now to like and subscribe to Mind Expansion Daily. It genuinely helps us keep doing this work and reach more people.
Yeah, it really does help.
Oh, and one more thing. If you really appreciate the information, maybe consider buying us a coffee. The link's right there in the description. Every little bit helps us keep the lights on and the research going.
We really appreciate that support.
Definitely. And finally, we love hearing from you. Leave a comment below. Tell us if you agree or disagree with how we're summarizing this. And maybe mention where you're listening from. We're trying to grow our reach worldwide.
Okay, so the mechanism, the why. How does too much sugar in the blood lead to, too much water leaving the body?
Right, let's unpack that. So the main trigger, the point where things really tip over, according to the NIH studies, is hyperglycemia. Specifically, blood sugar levels consistently getting above 180 milligrams per deciliter, or mg/dL.
180 mg/dL, is that like a hard line? What's happening just below that?
Well, below that, your kidneys are doing their job incredibly well. They're amazing filters, handling about 180 liters of fluid every single day. And they're designed to pull almost all of that back in, along with the glucose your body needs. They conserve, they prevent waste.
Okay.
But once you cross that 180 mg/dL line, the system gets overwhelmed. The kidneys have a maximum capacity for reabsorbing glucose, and when there's too much sugar, they can't keep up. They hit their limit.
Right. And that's where you get this process. Think of those extra glucose molecules that the kidneys can't pull back. They end up staying in the kidney tubules, destined for the urine. But glucose is osmotically active. It basically acts like a sponge. It pulls water molecules along with it, trying to keep the concentration balanced. So as the excess sugar flows out into the urine, it drags a large amount of water with it. That's the osmosis part. The sugar literally forces water out.
A sugar sponge, yeah, that really helps picture it, an overflow.
Exactly, an overflow mechanism. And that overflow is what pushes your daily urine output up past that 3-liter mark we talked about.
And this is where it gets really concerning, isn't it? Because the result of this sugar sponge is significant fluid loss. You mentioned maybe losing 2 to 3% of your body water?
And that level of dehydration isn't just a side effect. It actively makes things worse. It creates this really damaging feedback loop.
How so?
Well, when you're dehydrated, your blood volume decreases, making your blood more concentrated. And guess what that does to your blood sugar?
It makes it go even higher.
Precisely. It spikes your blood sugar further, worsening the hyperglycemia that caused the problem in the first place. It's a cycle that feeds itself.
Wow. Okay, there was a specific data point on this in the sources, right? From a 2025 NIH study.
Yes, and it's pretty striking. The study found that dehydration alone could raise A1C levels by 0.5 to 1%.
0.5% to a full percent. Just from being dehydrated? Think about all the effort people put into diet, exercise, medication.
And dehydration is working against you the whole time. It really underscores why that ex-user's comment, my A1C hit 8.5 and I'm peeing buckets, makes perfect sense.
They're living that vicious cycle. Higher sugar leads to more water loss, which leads to more dehydration, which leads to even higher sugar. Oof.
It's a tough cycle to break.
And we also need to mention that sometimes the very medications used to help manage diabetes can, well, add to this particular problem, even when they're working correctly.
You're probably talking about the SGLT2 inhibitors.
Exactly. Drugs like empagliflozin, Jardiance is a common brand name. These medications are specifically designed to lower blood sugar by making the kidneys excrete more glucose.
Right. They intentionally cause osmotic diuresis. That's their job. So while they can be very effective at lowering A1C for many people,
they inherently increase urination. It's a direct effect. The sources mentioned about 15% of type 2 patients starting these drugs report noticeable, sometimes significant, polyuria.
yeah, which explains that other community post perfectly. Started Jardiance, now peeing nonstop. It's not that the drug isn't working. It's a known side effect that needs careful management, hydration, timing, etc.
Definitely something to discuss with your doctor.
And quickly, we should also remember there are other less common causes. Things like standard diuretic pills, for blood pressure.
That's furosemide.
Yeah, things like that. Or
Right.
conditions like diabetes insipidus, which is different. It affects water balance directly. And occasionally, psychogenic polydipsia, where someone drinks excessive water for psychological reasons.
Okay.
But for most people listening dealing with diabetes, that 180 mg/dL glucose threshold is likely the main culprit behind the floodgates opening.
So let's talk about the cost. Beyond the inconvenience, beyond always needing a bathroom nearby, what's the actual health toll of this constant fluid loss?
Well, the immediate impacts can be quite serious. The body isn't just losing water, it's losing electrolytes too. So you get things like fatigue, dizziness pretty quickly. But the really dangerous acute risk, especially for type 1 diabetics, is diabetic ketoacidosis, or DKA. The dehydration dramatically increases the risk. The sources cited a 20% higher risk of DKA.
20% higher. That's huge. DKA is a medical emergency.
Absolutely life-threatening. Needs immediate hospital care. And it's directly linked to that severe dehydration and lack of insulin working together.
And the electrolytes you mentioned. Sodium, potassium.
Yeah, losing too much of those throws your body chemistry off balance. These are critical for, normal heart rhythm, muscle function. So low levels can cause serious problems like arrhythmias or muscle weakness.
Yeah.
It's not just about feeling tired, it's messing with core functions.
And then there are the longer term, maybe more insidious costs, especially around quality of life, which, as you said, feeds back into the whole cycle.
Right. The sleep disruption is massive. We saw that figure. 70% of patients dealing with polyuria report poor sleep quality.
70%.
Constantly waking up stresses the body. It spikes hormones like cortisol. And what does cortisol do?
Raises blood sugar, of course.
Exactly. So the symptom causes exhaustion. And the exhaustion makes the underlying condition, the high blood sugar, even worse. It's a really cruel trap.
And looking even further down the road, chronic effects.
Kidney damage is the big one. Persistent, uncontrolled polyuria, puts extra strain on the kidneys day after day. The sources indicate it increases the risk of developing chronic kidney disease, CKD, by about 30%.
30%. Wow.
Yeah. And it's a major reason why that statistic exists, that 20 to 40% of all people with diabetes eventually develop some form of kidney damage or nephropathy. This constant fluid cycling plays a role.
Plus the social stuff we saw mentioned, right? Work interruptions, feeling embarrassed. It impacts everything.
It really does. Managing polyuria isn't just about comfort today. It's about protecting your long-term health and, frankly, maintaining your dignity in daily life.
Okay, so the good news is this isn't inevitable. This cycle can be broken. The 2025 ADA guidelines offer a clear path forward, starting with the basics.
Right. First step is acknowledging the signal.
Yeah.
You have to monitor. If you're consistently producing over 3 liters of urine daily, or if you're waking up multiple times every night.
You need to act. Don't just put up with it.
Exactly. And the primary action. It all comes back to tight glucose control. You have to get those blood sugar levels down below that 180 milli-GDL threshold. Aim for that A1C under 7%.
That's the core strategy, isn't it? Stop the osmotic diuresis at its source. If you cut off the excess sugar, the excess water flow stops.
Fundamentally, yes. And technology can be a huge help here. Continuous glucose monitors, CGMs. They let you see in real time when your sugar is spiking high enough to trigger that nighttime urination.
So you can react faster, adjust insulin or whatever's needed, like that ex-user who said, "My CGM saved me from nighttime lows," which in turn probably prevents the highs that cause the peeing.
Exactly. Knowledge is power there.
So beyond getting the glucose under control, what practical day-to-day things do the sources recommend? Lifestyle tweaks.
Hydration is key, but it has to be smart hydration. You need to replace the lost fluid, obviously. The general recommendation is around 2.5 to 3 liters of water daily. But critically, some of that should probably include electrolyte replacement drinks, especially if you're losing a lot, to get back that sodium and potassium.
Okay.
And really important for sleep. Manage your fluid timing. Try to significantly limit how much you drink in the, say, 2 hours before you go to bed. Give your body a chance to process fluids earlier.
That makes sense. Sleep hygiene for your bladder almost.
Kind of, yeah. Diet also plays a role, of course. Focusing on a lower carbohydrate approach can help stabilize glucose levels naturally, reducing that osmotic pressure in the kidneys.
And exercise. Still important.
Always. That standard recommendation holds. 150 minutes a week of moderate activity. It helps with insulin sensitivity, overall blood sugar moderation. It's part of the foundational control.
And lastly, medication. We mentioned SGLT2s.
Right. It's about working closely with your doctor. If a medication like an SGLT2 inhibitor is causing severe polyuria that's wrecking your sleep and life, have that conversation. There might be alternatives like metformin or adjustments to dosage or timing that can help achieve blood sugar control without such a disruptive side effect. It needs individual management.
Right. So let's try to pull this all together. The core message from our deep dive today seems to be polyuria isn't just an inconvenient symptom. It's a loud, clear signal. It tells you your blood sugar is likely running too high, consistently over that 180 milli-GDL mark.
And the cost isn't trivial. It ranges from immediate issues like fatigue and serious DKA risk to chronic threats like kidney disease, all while damaging your sleep and quality of life.
But there's a clear action plan. Monitor your output. Get hyper-focused on achieving target blood sugar control, aiming for that A1C under 7%. Hydrate smartly, paying attention to electrolytes and timing. And work with your doctor to optimize your medication strategy.
Absolutely. Taking control of polyuria is, in a very real sense, taking control of your overall diabetes management and future health.
Which leads us to a final thought for you, the listener, to maybe mull over.
Yeah, think about this. We've established this clear link between dehydration, often driven by polyuria, and a higher A1C. So how might actively tracking your fluid loss, actually measuring your urine volume, change your perspective? Could knowing that number, seeing the direct result of high blood sugar, increase your motivation to really nail down your glucose control and be more diligent about rehydrating effectively? Does it shift the focus from just managing a disease marker like A1C to managing a tangible resource, your body's water balance?
Something to think about. It reframes the problem, doesn't it?
It might. Thank you for diving deep into all these sources with us today. We hope this was helpful. Keep exploring, keep learning.
And before you go, please do leave that comment. Let us know if our summary resonated or if you see it differently. And definitely tell us where you're listening from. It helps us understand our reach.
Check out Mind Expansion Daily for more deep dives. And consider that like and subscribe, or maybe even buy us a coffee if you found value today. The links are in the description.
Until next time, stay curious and take care.